right. Yes,
Here we go.
We made it.
We did.
We are a little bit winded from
Not really. From
having
eating
to eat something real fast.
and drink.
No, we actually got here 30 minutes earlier than I
did.
thought we would. Hey,
Yeah.
welcome to the Gamble and Finn larger than live reality check. We are here again in the Gamble Thunderdome here at House Gamble because
Right.
we thought weather may be an issue again tonight out in the Oasis, but it looks like moving forward, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape, Fred.
Well, we've taken down umbrellas for each of the past 3 nights because taking like my plants off of ledges and stuff. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad out there. You got the humidity in, but nonetheless, for those who joined us this afternoon, we were on filling in for Eddie and Rocky on 700 WLW, and now we didn't want, it's a holiday, but we wanted to keep our customary time slot. We got lots to kick around, and hopefully our voices hold up, and we're having extra beverage just to make sure.
I think
correct?
so. We got to keep everything well lubed. Now, I don't know if is it proper to say Happy Memorial Day, because today is a pretty solemn day.
It is. I think it's just to make sure you observe Memorial Day and remember what this day is for.
Yeah, and I think as you look around, I walked Calvin today, and we walked past a cemetery that's in Milford, and I saw a lot of families planting flags, and it looked like there was a little bit of a procession that happened around and through.
Well, there was a lot of drive-through type. I mean, I think that's what they were promoting mostly because obviously you can't gather, at least not in these scenarios.
Right.
But I understand the dog community is talking about you beat down Calvin today with too long of a walk maybe. He was winded, right?
I wanted to get out there and try to do it before it got too humid. Unfortunately for him and for me, not so much. And so we got home, and I was afraid I had killed him because he was laying there. He was like breathing like, I'm like, oh, my God, am I going to have to give him mouth to snout? How's this going to work? So he had some cold water, and he's been chilling out all day, and I think everything's good. Now, the brim of the inside of my hat is not so good because I was sweating myself, and that will lead us to our next revelation.
It will, but was his tongue to the side or straight down?
He was almost sitting on it. He literally.
But I mean, you know how when they're really fatigued, it goes out.
It was
like
way out, and he's got part beagle in too, so his jowls.
Right. Oh,
when I get tired, his jowls start on down like this, and the tongue was just filling.
Does he drool?
Yeah, he does because he's got that beagle part.
Right. Well, that's
and
why
then he shakes his head, and it wraps around his snout. So he was fully engulfed in exhaustion today, but I think that's good. And he's starting after 3 weeks after coming from the shelter. I think he's starting to feel at home.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's all good. So. I'm pleased that things are going as well as they are on that front. Again, seeing a lot of people planting flags at grave markers. And again, a salute to those who have gone before us and have served in the military or otherwise what Memorial Day is all about. And, you'd like to think that amidst everything that's going on, too, that we don't like to get political. We don't want to be political. But you would like to think that this is the sort of day where you sit back and instead of worrying about the cookout or the this or the that especially right now, you might sit back and think, how are we being to each other? This is, all of these people fought and many died and, God bless those who are still around for our ability to disagree, but disagree as adults.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I think sometimes people maybe misconstrue our kind of approach to things when it comes to. I don't have an issue that somebody doesn't agree with me.
Right.
I could care less about that.
I want you to sometimes.
The problem is that you can't disagree in an orderly fashion anymore. There is no discussion. And I would tell you, I know you agree with me. I know this will agree on social media. That's the problem is because you used to disagree, you used to discuss it with somebody else. Today you just go and sit in your basement and put your pants around your ankles and peck something out on whatever your Facebook or something.
You would not have the balls to say to somebody's
face.
Well,
you obviously don't, or you would do it, and you don't have to do it today, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I was thinking as I was walking, I'm like, we talk about red and we talk about blue, and we talk, I'm looking at the flag. Red, white, and blue, red and blue, red and blue. But unfortunately, the colors, they now have come to represent staunch side here, staunch side here, and people line up, and there's just no real ability to meet in the middle anywhere, and that's unfortunate, and it led to one of the only political statements that I'll probably ever make.
And it's not red or blue.
No, it's not.
Well, it's actually a mix, right?
That's exactly right. What do you get when you get red and blue to finally come together?
Well, you don't.
Purple. That's what you
God,
get.
that's just
You get
brutal.
purple right there, huh? Come on, take a look at that.
Unfortunately, I already have. Put your hat back on.
Pretty good stuff right
Now,
there.
let's
But
give.
this is symbolic. This is where I want us to be. Let's listen to each other. Let's not wait for the government to take care of us. Let's take care of each other. It may not
Good luck
be
with
easy,
that.
but we weren't founded on easy.
Good luck with that.
Well.
That's not going to happen. So, I mean, well, for a brief period during COVID-19, I think for a brief period, people did kind of put the political agenda aside. That didn't last long. And now we're back. And can you imagine between now and November? I mean, I will tell you, I can't stand it. I just.
I've actually quit watching the news based on all the opening up and this
Oh, yeah.
problem and that problem.
Right.
I saw the Floyd Mayweather story that we talked about earlier on LW.
Are you
I'm
really
like,
surprised?
Some people
though?
are just thick as a brick. They're never going to get it, and you cannot help those people. They cannot get out of their own way. You can't fix stupid. Sometimes it fixes itself, but we're just going to have to kind of work our way through this. And, we talked with Mark Simendinger about NASCAR coming back, and we had on LW today. And different sports are coming back at different paces. I think NASCAR is aggressively poised to do it faster than anybody else, no pun intended.
Right. Well, they started off with the Daytona 500, and then they had, I think, maybe one more race, and then they took 7 or 8 weeks off. But what they essentially said is we're going to try to get the 36 race schedule in. We're not going to skip any dates. And as Mark alluded to, they've been doing kind of where you could easily drive from one to the next, trying to keep them, but they're going to get to where it's farther apart, July 9th through the 11th at Kentucky Speedway. He doesn't know, as he told us today, they're not going to NASCAR. That would be like, I guess, phase 3 of their plan, and they haven't announced what they're going to do with that. Could be, I would tell you, they could move, and they haven't said this, but they could move to a Wednesday because they're mixing those. They've had 3 races in 8 days.
Well, it's not like anybody has to go to work on Thursday, so
Well, that's
if Wednesday is what it is, then it'll have to take care of itself. Now, we jumped right in with both feet. We didn't really introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah, we forgot about all
set
that.
the table. Gamble and Finn. We are here again at House Gamble here in the Thunderdome, looking to get back outside here soon. Monday nights, 7:00.
Yep.
We get a chance to deep dive into some things that we talk about in our typical spot. Thursday
Right.
nights with the reality check on WLW, and today again we were in for Eddie and Rocky. That went well. I thought that was a lot of fun.
And I've worked my ass off since last week to get the yard in just amazing conditions so everybody could see it. And I'm not being facetious. Well,
It's much
there's
nicer than even
right,
this.
Right,
This is an old photo.
It is an old photo, but I got it done, and look, here we are.
Can
back
I ask a
inside
question,
again.
though?
You sure you can?
It appears that I'm coming over the fence. What was I doing out there?
I don't know, but hopefully you don't have poison oak because
Oh,
there's
there's
plenty
some
of
back
there
there.
is poison oak, ivy, all sorts of
You have
poisonous.
a red Sharpie?
Yes, I do. In fact, you
This
like
is
to
what-
draw some in.
This is one of my favorite things about the show each week is trying to figure out what that's going to
Right.
look like. But we are going to get to a lot of things that we had planned for you. We're talking a little bit more about dogs. You've got your future animal,
Future Fidge.
Future Fidge on the way.
Yep.
We're going to talk a little bit about that because there's something else that came up earlier today. And we actually had, was it Mike from Columbus?
It was Mike
who
from
checked in to
Columbus,
talk
right.
about it. And it's something to make sure that you kind of keep your eye on, especially if you're involved in adopting a pet at this time. We're going to talk a little bit more about the reopening, some of the
Sure.
dumbasses that were
Idiots.
that have
Right.
been part of that. Floyd Mayweather, notwithstanding. I want to find out about, because last week I was here, you were all hands on deck and almost all hands below deck trying to fix a leak down in the a window well.
Yeah,
but I
well-
have something I want to ask you if you have,
Sure.
and it'll lead into a whole other
Okay.
discussion. We do have the drinking game going, I do believe. Our
I
friend
think we
Lisa
do, right?
puts the drinking game together, and we of course have show and tell to wrap everything up. So we'll wing it as well. We're building features for the show
We are.
that we want to be able to have sponsorable, because we really think that this will take on multiple incarnations, and this show I think can be one of the best in broadcast history.
I'm glad you think that. Okay.
That's what I think.
Well, let's be real. We need money. I mean, this is we can't do this for free. I mean,
yeah,
this
we got
is
to pay our producer.
we got to pay our producer. We got
we
equipment to buy.
I'm telling you what.
And maybe if we could get our internet provider to have something that didn't have Frank chiseling something out of the cave below. What a bunch of BS when they come out and they give you like, well, this area isn't prime for. What do you mean it isn't prime? This is 2020, man.
We have houses here. How is it
Right.
not prime?
We have an entire subdivision. You're telling me everybody in here has crap internet? Fix it. Get some speed. Or we're going to the other provider if we can get somebody in the Sudan to answer their phone. That's the problem when you think about when you try to switch anything. Right. Do you want it? Well, wait, I swear to you, I have a funny story. I'm not making this up. A buddy of mine, literally, he just bought a new house, and he called, and I don't care. I'm just going to mention it. He called Cincinnati Bell.
Okay.
All right. And
I've heard of it.
he had the person on the other end of the line, and she was going through his address, and of course his address is Cincinnati, Ohio, and she couldn't understand that. And he goes, "It's in the same city where the company you work for." Well, he obviously knew she wasn't here, but
That
anyway.
didn't go over so.
No, it didn't go over so good. But I would tell you, back to the talking about dogs, and you have Calvin that you got from the League of what Claremont County Welfare. Is that accurate?
League for Animal Welfare. Claremont County
what did I
Welfare.
say? Oh yeah,
That's what I'm going to be on here soon.
Right,
if
right.
I can't get back to work.
Well, I thought I'd just set you up so you at least know where they're located. So when you have to go, because you can't go to the BMV, right? Anyway,
Batavia.
but I would tell you this. One thing about having a dog, you've had them, I've had them, Lori had them. I mean, my family, my mom and dad have had them their entire lives. And so me growing up had dogs, and Lori and I had a dog each when we met and lived to be 15. Dogs are work. They're awesome. I mean, they're a lot of fun. But if you're not prepared, if you've never had one, and suddenly people are using this time because they're staying at home, what a great time to get one. But you better think through the process, because if you have to go back to an office, if you're good enough to have a job, but if you have to go back to an office and you have to you want to take a vacation, whatever the case may be, you can't just leave Fido unattended at home.
Right.
And I don't think people, and there's a significant cost.
Yeah.
From going to the vet to dog food to everything else. I mean, those are things, again. If you've had a dog, you know. If you have never had a dog, you don't want to find out the hard way. It's not fair to the dog.
Well, and we've been in situations where, and you may know this from a family member or whatever, but you've heard this, Dad, can we get a dog? We'll take care of it. And if you are dad, or in some cases mom, can we get a dog? We'll take care of it. You already know better. It's going to fall upon one person primarily to be the main caretaker. And in your particular case, it's been you in the past. In my case, it wasn't me, but I knew what was required. And if you don't know that going in, you are doing that dog or that cat or whatever. I can't. People do adopt cats, even though you can find one pretty much anywhere you look.
We've got one living under our deck that as soon as Fidge gets here, that cat will be
that'll be the end of that
cat.
You know what you need? A python. That's what you need.
Well, but I would say, but cats. While cats still require your attention, I don't think they require quite the attention, because you have a litter box instead of you got to get your ass up and take Fred out to go to the bed. You know what I mean? Cats, you can just let them go. And
that's what I want, an animal that craps in my house. I can barely stand the fact that I do it.
I'll be, neither can your house, but I would tell you the following. I hate cats, and I'm sorry if you're a cat lover, but here's what I tell you about cats. I don't know why you have a cat. I mean, at least a dog, you train a dog. You don't train cats. And don't anybody tell me that you do.
You know what? My neighbor, he has a cat. When he calls it, it comes. I've never seen that
either.
At one time,
most of them don't even know their name.
You'd love him. His name is Uno because he only has one eye.
Okay, well,
and then he goes, "Hey, Uno," and boom, there comes Uno. But
my nickname should be None.
To your point,
right?
It's very rare that you can train a cat. Now, some people, I think I've seen they've trained them to use the toilet even. And flush the toilet.
The cat?
Yeah, you've never seen that?
I don't want a cat going on my commode.
No, I don't.
Well, let me tell you, there's no cat that would go in our commode with 3 boys. Are you kidding me? Not a chance. But I mean, I guess the bottom line is there's nothing wrong with it. We would encourage you, if you're in the market and want to treat a dog right, and or whatever pet it may be, use this time to do so. Just remember that it's years.
Yeah.
I mean, and there are stages, and you've got to be prepared, and you got to do what's right for that animal.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Hey, Gamble, capital N, Finn, if you're watching on social media, you know the site. Please like it. Please share it. We've had a lot of folks. Barb Scott is on here. We've got Lisa's got the drinking game ready to go. Tracy Bachweg is on. Back to reality. Thank you, that Pam. Brian, shout out to the Armed Forces and the vets. So a lot of good stuff on here. Dave Kale is on here. And I tell you, just keep them coming. Campbell, Matt Campbell, Sheila Foreman, Josh Baker, Dustin, a handful of others. Chris, thanks for checking us out. And again, ultimately what we want to do is just give you 30, 45 minutes to laugh and dig a little deeper. Now, anytime you want to talk about something, you want to hear us discuss something, or you have something you want to throw in, feel free to
Yeah.
throw it in the list. And if we can grab onto it, we absolutely will. Now, last week when I was here,
Yes.
it was a mad scramble, not to set up the gear and the equipment. It was because somebody had gone downstairs and realized water was coming in through a window well.
Yeah. So this was some years ago, 3 to 5 years ago. We discovered that in our we have a workout room that I go down there and look at it every now and again. It's kind of neat.
It's a room you work
But
out of.
the wife uses it, the boys use it. But the window well, the water was coming in. So we basically, it's right outside. In fact, it's right at the base of this window here. We dug it out, put gravel in. We found a little crack where the water was seeping in. So we fixed that. So all of a sudden, thankfully, Michael, the middle son, went down and saw the water coming in again. I mean, it was one of these where it was past monsoon rain. And it's really only when the rain is just ridiculous, which around here anymore, it seems like every other day. But,
Right.
So similar thing. So naturally, what you want to do when the rain is go out and try to fix something when it's a driving rain. So we did. We tried. He could see where it had pulled apart a little bit. And we used some silicone. And we put a pond pump in the window well and started pumping because what happens is the water would get in the window well, fill up, and then just have to come in the house.
All right.
Yes?
You know what you need?
Yes, somebody to fix the damn thing.
No, you can fix this. It's so simple. It's so simple.
You have no idea.
I absolutely do.
You have
I should have brought this up earlier.
No, you're going to give me some ridiculous something you ordered on television one night when you were loaded.
You need, hang on, hold tight. You need Flex Paste.
No.
Flex Paste.
That stuff
Haven't you
anymore.
seen that guy? He made a boat out of chicken wire. He's floating
great.
around in his chicken wire
Yeah,
boat.
sure he
made
is.
of Flex Paste.
No.
It's only $12.99.
Well, here's
you can
the
get
pro-
it in black or white. It's Flex Paste.
Here's the problem. If anybody has any ideas how to fix that,
Flex
please
Paste.
hit us up.
Flex
Gamble
Paste.
Capital N Fin. You're on it right now. But here's what I would tell you. The problem is there are companies that will come in. I don't need my basement dug up. I don't need the you can see the issue. I just am inept and don't know how to fix it.
All right, 3 words for you. 3 words.
Call a contractor?
No. Flex Paste. That's all you need. You got to
That's
watch.
2 words.
I have ordered things from infomercials.
Did you
before.
order knives?
I did not order knives. I ordered OxyClean. The very first time I ever saw Billy Mays, before he was lining it up and snorting it.
Oh, Billy
I
Mays.
ordered a big tub of OxyClean, and I still have some of it. It
OxyClean
still works.
might help you beat COVID.
It's 20 years old, and it still works.
Does it really?
Okay, and then I got a thing called. I've gotten a lot of shit. I've gotten.
I swear you ordered. Did you order knives?
I
Who
don't
do I
know.
know? Somebody I know ordered knives.
No, some of those ceramic knives I've heard are pretty good. You cut your finger off with them. But I ordered. What was the other thing? Oh, a thing called a gator grip. And it goes on the
I
end of a
remember
socket
that.
wrench, and it has the
I remember that, right.
adjustable pins. That's actually a good purchase as well. I've ordered a lot of crap. I ordered a thing that was you were
Wait,
supposed to.
I saw the recent knife. It's like forged steel thing, and they show you how they slice a pineapple in half, and then you can saw some meat.
Yeah, I like the one where they cut the copper pipe and then cut through a shoe. I'm like, I don't really need to cut through
Right, who's
a
cutting a
I just want
shoe?
to cut through some meat. How's
Right.
that crap? But if you've ever bought anything off of an infomercial,
I can tell you, I honestly have not.
let us know because I'm kind of keeping an eye on the comments as we go here. And if you have any, as you mentioned, if you have anything that you recommend,
Yeah.
let us know. But I'm telling you right now, this Flex Paste, he takes a chainsaw, Fred, and goes into a big barrel with water shooting in and leaking out, and he just puts the Flex
bet he
Paste on,
does.
and it plugs it up. That's what you should have.
Well, here's the problem.
I will buy it for you.
Who do you laugh at this, but who do you call? I mean, you could say, well, why don't you call this or why don't you call that? I don't need somebody to come out here and reconstruct my brick house. I
But
just need
that's
somebody to
what's
fix
gonna
a little.
happen.
Well, that's why I'm not calling them.
Then $12.99. Well,
Let's
how bad
move
could
on
it-
to the next damn topic,
How bad
please.
could it possibly be? But I love infomercials. I'll sit and watch them all the time. I ordered. You ever seen the Knife Show? Did you ever have DirecTV?
I thought that. I swear it was you.
Okay. Oh, that's
was
what you're
you.
talking
That's
about.
what I'm talking about.
No. It's called The Knife Show. It was on
Right.
channel 227 on DirecTV, and it's these hillbillies.
Yeah, that's what it was.
from,
Okay, I thought it was you.
Oh, it's called Cutlery Corner. And it's on channel 227. But the best part is you would turn it on. It would come on at like 11 o'clock at night, and it'd be on until 5 in the morning. And they were running out of some double wide down in Tennessee. and it's this couple of hillbilly guys and this girl with big long nails. But they would just sit and do these collect. It was mostly for people, I think, that bought and resold.
Collecting knives?
Or that resold at flea markets.
Okay.
You'd get these giant collections, but every once in a while they would do these specialty knives. And they would tell you, well, this is normally it's worth $375. Tonight you can get it for $8. $8.
And we'll send you an extra one,
yeah,
too.
Oh, and if you call right now, we'll send you 4 of them.
Right.
But I was sitting around drinking beers with some friends of mine, Lori and Rob, and we're watching the show and just we're howling, laughing. And the more beers we drank, the more bizarre the show got.
Oh, you called them, right?
So, yeah, so I'm looking at that number and I'm like, that is a really nice sword. It was a sword about
That's right.
about
Okay.
that tall,
See, I knew I wouldn't.
And it had like a little lion head with 2 red ruby eyes. So I'm like, beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop. And the guy, I think it's like 2:30 in the morning. And the guy goes, Cutlery Corner. I go, really? And he goes, yes. I go, hey, is item KB-1122, the broadsword with the lion and the red eyes, is that still available? Yes. I'm like, I want one.
Well, he's really selling
Yeah,
it.
he goes, I want one. Well, you think about all the dumbasses he was dealing with, case in point. And he goes, okay. He goes, there is one. He goes, credit card information. I said, let me hand you to my associate. And I handed him over to Rob. And the thing showed up like 2 weeks later. And I don't
Really?
and I honestly, I don't know where it is now.
Well-
but it was as sharp as this table.
While you're on that
It's a piece of
subject,
shit.
you know what else is on at 11 o'clock to 5 a.m., don't you?
Oh, God. Does it rhyme with Chicago PD?
Sergeant Jack Voigt.
Jack Voigt. Hey,
This has been a big
Quit talking
this
about
has
me
been a
behind
big
my
weekend
back.
for me. I've had Law and Order, SVU, Chicago PD. One day it was on, Chicago PD was on from 6 a.m. to like 4 a.m. It was awesome.
again, I love the fact that you're binge watching.
Takes me a
shows
while.
that have been on. That like some of the people in these shows you're watching are dead. That's how long they've
They
been
are.
on.
I
Now,
told you I can't watch The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan thing, until at least 10 years have passed.
until he's dead. Well, here's my question because we
Yes.
were talking about that as well on LW. Just briefly, after watching that, I watched all 10, and people are bitching, and Pippen's bitching, and Horace Grant, and Sam Smith, blah, blah, blah. Would you want to be Michael Jordan? If you could be Michael Jordan, would you want to be
The
him?
entire deal? I mean,
Yeah, all in. Would you want to be Michael Jordan? Would it be worth it?
I wouldn't be doing this.
Well, I think you would just for fun.
No, I think
because
you know
of me.
what though. But it's funny though because we talked about this a little bit too. It's kind of like that musician. You know, I couldn't. You know, a lot of them will tell you that they wound up on drugs or in alcohol because they couldn't handle fame. But yet, I would argue that when you start off as the little, you know, they're complaining about how brutal it was,
On the
what they
road,
had to
yeah.
do, and then now all of a sudden,
Well.
I don't know. Yes, you know what? That's a almost impossible question to answer because we haven't been there. You know what I mean? To the
Right.
point where,
But I don't think I'd want to be there. I don't think I'd want to be somebody as recognizable as Michael Jordan. And again, he put himself out there. He is his own logo.
but here's the other
But
piece.
if
to
I
that.
couldn't even walk down the street to
But
go
you know what, though?
buy some clothes.
The other thing, though, is if you were at that status and at that level where you made that kind of money, you could choose to get out whenever you wanted. I mean, you could.
No, you can. But if you're him, you're still him. When
I
you're
get
walking
it.
around, you're
well,
still
you
that
are,
guy.
You are,
Unless
but
he's going to start
so
wearing a wig.
do you think man, I wish I could remember. I literally just saw an interview with somebody where exactly what you just talked about happened. This person, and it was a music related. It was,
Was it Mick Fleetwood?
No, it was somebody else. It was somebody, and they were talking about. I think it was Roger Daltrey, talking about that piece of it. How you had to wear a hoodie, and you didn't.
Yeah.
Once you got to, because he was asked by Dan Rather, when did you realize you were famous? And got into that conversation. By the way, you would have loved his answer because it sounded like you and me talking when he was asked about the music industry today and people on cell phones today. I thought,
Oh, God.
damn, did we somehow send him that answer?
Yeah. Well,
But I don't know. That's you are correct in that when you lose your individualism and your ability to just go to a movie, to go here, to go there. Now, don't feel bad if you want to go and you call up and say, "Hey, Jerry Jones,
Sure.
can you get me in the owner's box?" I'm not feeling too
Well,
sorry for those people.
and there's a couple of things. You mentioned musicians. Like Kurt Cobain, I used to always hear, oh, he didn't want to be famous. He didn't want to be famous. And I always said, you know what? I got an answer for you, boss. Here's the deal. This is a standing offer. I used to say this on the air at EBN all the time. If you know what, if you're tired of the fame and the money, here's what I want you to do. I will send you my address. Every month you send me all your money. And then every once in a while I'll send you a note and tell you what I did with it. That way you're not burdened by it.
Right.
So you don't have to
Well, that's
worry
kind of what I
about it.
mean.
And I'm, because I'm a giver.
Right. Yeah, sure you are. But that's what I mean. So how can you can't have it both ways. You can't say,
Right.
man, I lived on the street and I did this and we just barely had enough gas money to get back to Toledo and then now we're playing stadiums. Well, which do you want?
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing too is that, like a Michael Jordan. I've always thought this as well, because when you get to that level of fame, what are the odds that when you go in someplace, that the owner or the manager doesn't come up and say, "That's on me," and that you're not even paying? You know, if Michael Jordan walked into your restaurant and you were in Dubuque, Iowa, or whatever, is Dubuque in Iowa? I don't know. I probably should have checked.
It is.
But
well, if you remember, you and I were out to eat one time with Bronson Arroyo.
Yeah.
Now that was related to Bronson had done a talk. This person who was the GM of this particular restaurant, his mom was a principal at a school, and he'd done a talk there. But he came up to us, and again, this is Bronson Arroyo. 3 years removed, 4 years removed from playing Major League Baseball. But I also would tell you this: the Michael Jordans, the Paul McCartneys, the Mick Jaggers. That's a level.
Right.
There's plenty of people where if you're out on the street with a ball cap on, you might not be recognized.
Well, but the back half of my point with regard to that is if you go in and the manager were to come over and say, "Oh, your party, that's on me," I'm one of those people where I think they should be charged double, and the person that comes in and sits at that table behind them, their dinner is on Michael Jordan. Call me crazy.
Well, I also...
That's socialism, though, I think.
I wonder, though, how many of those people would say, no, I got this.
Yeah.
But then you hear about how many limo drivers do you hear about taking athletes somewhere, guys
stiffed.
Making multi-millions of dollars and leaving nothing for a tip.
I've heard that with a lot of servers as well. A couple
same,
of Bengals,
same deal.
couple
Absolutely.
of Bengals that specifically come to mind.
Correct.
That would come in and run up big tabs and leave no. But at the same time, there are other Bengals that I had heard that had come in and leave $1,000.
Correct.
Tip
Well,
or
because they're
something like
making
that.
up for the ass clowns.
Yeah, well, and that's unfortunate that is the way it works. We're getting some good comments. I think Barb just sent a note and said she bought a machete at a gas station. I think that beats the hell out of
that's a good place I'd want to buy my gas
Are
at.
you sure you bought it, or you just went home with it?
Fill me up with premium and I'll take the machete.
Stuck in you?
Jesus, what is that, to rob the place?
Oh, the furball's watching. How about that?
Is he?
Yep.
Well, little does he know, but we're going to have him out here at some. We're working on an A-list of celebrities to come out and join us.
Yeah, and by
we
A-list,
are. Just
you
hang
mean,
out.
Hey, you want to come over and be on the
Hey,
show?
what are you doing next Monday?
We'll have him back out when we get out to the Oasis.
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, one of the other things we were talking about, too, and again, if you're liking and sharing, we appreciate it. We ask you to like and share the show.
Tell a friend.
Again, yes, and don't you miss
We
this
don't
week's
have
show.
any.
Yeah.
Tell your
It
friends
looks
because
like
we need them.
at least 30, but maybe
That's
they're just
big.
tuning in to see just how off the rail it could be. Now, I would say if you like and share, please do, because we're trying to build this thing up into something that that is as much fun for you as it is for us. And ultimately, I think we'll probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe be starting our own YouTube channel, which I think is maybe something that we're discussing. Oh, we just sent our executive producer into fits. She just broke out in hives.
Well, let's just
like, God
let's
damn it, I
one
just barely figured out
right
Facebook.
one step at a time, please.
Well,
I now
anyway.
have my house where I can't even walk. This room has been rendered useless every week. It's okay.
It's not the only thing in this house
Oh,
that's
there's-
rendered
Trust me, there's
useless.
plenty of things useless. And I'm at the top of the list.
God. So we had one and then two women who were hairstylists at the Great Clips in Missouri. One knew she was COVID positive, worked on 91 different people. Then the second one was revealed to also have known as the country opens back up. Now, we saw horrifying photos and videos of people all on top of each other with the country opening back up. And without getting too much into all of that stuff, what do you do with those two women? They knew. It's not like they didn't know. They knew. And then where did they go? A health club?
Well, one of them went to a health club. Yeah. At least one of them. And I saw an interview with the owner of the health club because naturally that's an issue there.
Yeah.
So they were figuring out and, doing all the contact tracing, et cetera. I don't know. I mean, if you knew and you willingly went to work and you could say, well, got to get back to work. No, that's crossing the line. I mean, and that's what we talk about is just the common sense of it all. I think they should be named.
I agree.
I mean, if you're that, well, first of all, if I was that company, I'd fire their ass because that's as dumb could be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's stupid.
Well, and I think one of the things is you go in and they were allegedly and to the credit of the Great Clips, I don't want to disparage.
Right.
what
No. They were doing everything that they were supposed to do protocol-wise.
And they were able
correct.
to go in and they kept good enough records. They were able to trace anybody
Yep.
that they may have had
Well, can you imagine
contact with.
You imagine them, how irritated they are?
Well, sure. And this is the other part of that now. Okay. We have seen and we have heard number after number after number with regard to this that don't mean anything.
We don't know what any of it means.
Yeah, none of it's relative. This
Right.
story would be a perfect case study
Yeah.
when they go back and they trace back to the people that these people, even though they had masks and everything else, how many of those people end up being affected or infected over the next 2 weeks? Because I think that right there is going to allow you to break down the age, the sex, the underlying conditions, the number of people, and then we at least have some verifiable data that might mean something.
I'm not a physician, but if you're getting a haircut, and even if one of these women were cutting your hair wearing a mask, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to get it.
No.
I mean, I think that's the issue with this. There's so many unknowns to COVID. I mean, and I don't profess to know anything other than all you can do as an individual is do the best you can to listen to people who, in theory, know more than we do, and just use common sense.
Okay,
that's all you can.
Then let's go back. Let's go back
right.
to Floyd Mayweather. Okay, he went out clubbing. I forget where, but they showed pictures and video, and it's Mayweather and his posse and everybody in this club all on top of each other, high-fiving, drinking out of the same bottles, doing all this stuff. Okay, let me ask you this: if Floyd Mayweather gets this and dies, does that teach anybody anything? Or is that a segment of the population that feels, because of the amount of money that they have or the people that they know, that they are not, even if that were to happen to him?
I don't think if you're in that,
change anything?
if you're in that zone of income, et cetera, because the dude's got tons of cash.
Right.
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Because I think those are people who just believe that no matter what, I'm invincible, because in his sport, he virtually is.
Right. Okay. So then let's take this to the illogical conclusion of, as we talked about red and blue, and you line up this way or you line up this way. You can look at any facts that you want and fit your facts to your own
Well, most people
agenda
do.
and your own narratives. And
That's
we
what
talked
people
about
do.
Less red, less blue, more
Right.
purple. But let me ask you this. Let's say where do you brought this up? Actually, when we were off air over there, I forgot to bring this up, that you mentioned it. Where do you go to get straight facts besides maybe that map that Johns Hopkins put out? And then if you put those facts out to somebody, do you change anyone's mind? Is anyone's mind going to change? Or if you're watching, have you changed your mind about this? Because I don't think it's going to happen. We are so lined up one way or the other. Well, not me or you.
The only thing I would tell you, the only thing that I've changed my mind about, and the only thing that I'm irritated with, and again, I'm not an expert on any level of medical anything. Look at me, for God's sake. But here's what I would tell you. What bothers me more than anything is that essentially all of the governors, all of the politicians initially were bracing, and I understand why, because this was unprecedented. Were bracing because they were afraid that the healthcare system was going to collapse under the weight of all this. All right? Now, I'm not here to tell you that some of the healthcare systems in certain areas of this country aren't challenged. Mm-hmm. But in the majority, they're not. In the majority, the numbers, if you believe what you've been hearing, are coming in less, and the cases are less, and the really serious cases are less. Why don't they come out and tell you that? See, that's what bothers me.
Because they can't trust you with that information.
Well, but a politician's like a weather person. The weather people come on the air every damn day, and normally they're inaccurate. Right. And they never come on the next day and say, hey, sorry I missed that one yesterday. I'd have more respect for them if they did that.
Yeah.
Sorry, that snuck up on whatever the hell. I don't know. I just wish that they would come out, and I wish Governor Mike DeWine would come out and say, look, and he has. And I'll give him, I'll laud him for being aggressive, and I'll laud him for saying, thank you, Ohioans have done this, have done that, and that's why our numbers. But come out and say, we anticipated more than we've got. We're okay from a healthcare system. You can still say that. Now, folks, that doesn't mean.
But they don't hear anything after
I know.
that. And I think that's the thing, because it goes, wah, 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 wah.
I know.
After you hear what you
Right.
want to hear,
I get it.
the set of facts.
But you're not going to change that no matter what you say.
No, that's true. The people that are still going to go out and be reckless are going to be reckless. And the bottom line is you can't really define reckless because you don't know what you're working with to begin with.
Correct.
How do I know I have it? You don't. Okay,
Right.
what do you
well,
do
that's
with,
all. But that's all you
what
need
do you
to
do
know.
with that?
But that's all you need to know.
Right.
So what you do with that is you exercise common sense, you pay close attention to what you're doing, and you do the things that you're supposed to be, that they're asking you to do, and don't do those that they're not asking you to. That's all you need to do.
Well, again, we go back to the fact that we were originally asked to do a lot of things, and no one did. So then you had to be told.
Well, but you were ordered. You were ordered. I get it, because it all
originally, you
started
were
with. No,
asked.
you're right, and it started with St. Patrick's Day. I will still contend what happened is that weekend where St. Patrick's Day was coming up the following week, when they saw all the people out doing what they were asked not to do, that's when they had to say, we're not doing this
It
anymore.
cannot be easy, and I understand both sides of the argument because you talk about your freedoms and things like that. In a country that has been this free
Correct.
for so long, I mean, you look at the governments and things, and we're getting maybe a little bit further into this than I thought, but the governments around the world that have a little tighter rein on their populace.
And there's plenty of them.
And they do. And so it wasn't as big of a shift for those populations.
Right.
It's just the government putting their thumb down a little bit more on me. When you are as free as we have been, even as simple as interstate travel, those sorts of things.
Right, sure.
Now, I think I go back to the kind of thing like with helmet laws. I ride a motorcycle. I wear a helmet when I ride. Not because it's the law, but because the only thing I've got going for me is under this purple hair. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's not my modeling career isn't in danger. It's my coconut, what I got going on in here. My feeling is I don't need you to protect me from myself.
Right.
And what I
But
always
but
said,
sadly, a lot of people do.
well, now you need the government to come in and protect you from the
Right.
dumbass next door or
Right.
whatever, or
Yeah,
across
you're
the
correct.
aisle. My feeling is tell the insurance companies, okay, I'm not going to wear a helmet. And if you're in a wreck and you have a head injury and you don't have a helmet on, they don't have to cover you. That's your decision as
Right.
to how you want to be covered. And I
Yeah.
think there are ways to go this way because COVID insurance or pandemic insurance may be a part of, like, for instance, your business.
Right.
That is so based on events.
But the issue becomes, can you afford it? I mean, that's
Well-
the problem. I mean, can you imagine what the premium would be for that?
Yeah, like hurricane insurance
Oh, my
or other
God.
things like that. Well, let's lighten it up real quickly and
Okay.
tip our hats, or my hat and your pate, to Tiger and Phil.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't believe I'm going to say this, Tom Brady.
Right.
And
Peyton
and
Manning.
That was pretty cool.
Well, and it was cool. They had the golf, basically the 2-on-2 yesterday in Jupiter, Florida, Tigers home course, miserable weather, but it was fun. They had Charles Barkley, Justin Thomas, a lot of other people interacted. They raised $20 million.
Yeah.
And it does go to show you how starved we are for anything sport.
Yeah.
But I mean, you talk about personalities. I mean, you're talking Tiger Woods, arguably the greatest golfer of all time. Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer, Tom Brady, Hall of Famer, and Phil Mickelson, Golf Hall of Famer, great player, I mean, for many, many years. And I got to tell you, Peyton Manning is outstanding. That Peyton's Place, if you haven't seen his shows, most of it's streamed or it's on their app. It's basically celebrating the 150 years of the NFL and football, and he goes back and does a bunch of stories. It's outstanding. He's got a great personality. He's really taken – he was a great player, but he's done even more since he's retired.
Dude,
I mean,
you're trying to put the NFL in an early grave. You added 50 years to it.
that was 150.
I think it's just 100, isn't it?
I think it's 150.
150.
Oh,
Was
maybe-
it part of the
maybe-
Revolutionary War?
Well, you know how it is. I mean, I've been watching
That is so
I've been watching some games that go back a ways. I lost count. I thought it was 150. I guess it is 100.
Remember when John Adams ran for a touchdown?
I tell you what,
Remember that?
the left sweep by Adams was something.
John Quincy
Smart
Adams,
ass,
oh.
right?
That's all right. Our executive producer pointed that out off camera.
It
'cause
was
blew
only
right
it was only 100, wasn't it? I'm off a year or two. What the hell?
But you mentioned I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw a little bit of it. But Barkley, who I've come to like a lot more over the years.
Well, the thing about Barkley is he's
He
kind of
doesn't
become
care.
a cartoon character, but he does not care.
does not care.
And he's not afraid. And when Justin Thomas said he'd like to still see his fat ass try to dunk, I mean, what you're getting is you're seeing personality from golfers, most of whom on the PGA Tour don't have one.
Don't show any.
They don't show any because it's not kind of, you have to remain stoic and you have to, that's how you win, is that even keel,
Yeah.
But you saw the human side of a golfer
Yeah,
yesterday.
especially when they're out looking for their balls on
Right.
the first hole, which is fantastic.
Well, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady on those looking for their golf balls are like me trying to play around a golf. Anybody see where that went in?
Well, you know what I'm thinking? Since people are so starved for sports and money and fundraising, here's an idea. Anybody that's out there that has a pool, a lap pool, like big enough,
Yeah.
here's what I think we do. To raise money for charity, you and I have a 100-yard freestyle swimming race. We'll be in the farthest lanes apart. You could have the swimsuit of your choice, and we'll do 100 yards, either if it's 50 back, down and back, for charity. You want to do that?
I could probably wear a Speedo now.
You want to do that? No, you probably could.
I mean, I probably
Yeah.
could.
I'll probably end up doing it from a different pool, if that's the case. Now, you know what I'll do? I'll get the Borat suit. I'll do it
Oh,
in the
there you
Borat
go.
suit, and you can
That'd
do it
be
in
great.
the Speedo. Now, Lance is watching. I don't know if Lance is in Vegas or not. Our buddy Lance Serber, he's checking everything out, and Stacy is on here. We appreciate it again. Like and share. We call it the Reality Check, larger than live. We're here doing it at the spacious House Gamble right now in the Thunderdome. Later, be out in the Oasis back 40.
Hopefully at some point,
Ideally,
yes.
yes, sweating our balls off and complaining.
But I
about
will
that
tell you,
as well.
I'll take this. You won't
Yeah.
hear me complain. This is awesome. Bring it on.
All right. Well, typically the way that we like to wrap the show up
Yes.
is with a little show and tell. We have accumulated a lot of what we like to call awesome stuff and what everyone we know likes to call crap that's in the way. So I think it's time we show and tell.
All right. You want me to go first? Or do you want to go
I
first
don't
this
remember.
time?
Did you go first last time?
I think I did.
I'll go first.
Okay, you go first.
All right. Now this goes back to our days at Radio Baghdad.
Oh,
When we were
God.
down at 9th and Hell. Was that where we were downtown?
It was brutal
Oh,
down
God.
there. That building was a
Pretty cool.
dump.
Remember,
That-
pretty
I remember. Yeah, he was a great security guard.
I was actually
Good thing
doing-
nobody ever came in causing problems.
You could have come in.
Well, I got
stolen
to tell,
everything out of
before
that
you get to this, I got to tell, back in the days of the Cincinnati Post, we were down at 125 East Court Street, and there was a dude who was a security guard, main desk. We were up on the 4th and 5th floor. Do you remember the movie? I think it was The Spy Who Loved, one of the old Bond
Yeah.
movies. The dude Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Robert
a
Keel.
dead ringer for Jaws. I mean, he didn't have he looked like Jaws. The dude had to be like 6'6" or 6'7". I came into the office one day and they're like, "You're not going to believe this." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Jaws got his ass beat." I go, "What?" Some little dude came in and beat the ass on this guy. I mean, he looked like a dude who should be your security guard. And some little scrawny guy came in and kicked his ass.
That's great. Well, you know what? It's like
Pretty
little dogs and
cool.
big dogs. Pretty cool.
How you doing today? Pretty cool.
That was the dude down at 9th and Hell.
He was brutal.
Yeah, that
he was
a-
nice,
I-
but
all I remember about that building is
God
the first
help
day,
us.
The first day I walked into that building down there, I looked out the window of our studio. What were we on, the 9th floor?
9th floor,
We were on
yes.
the 9th floor, and I look across the way at the apartment building, and a flaming mattress is flying out of someone's window.
Yeah, some
I'm like,
nice housing.
Got to get at it.
All right, what do you have? What'd you bring?
So I was doing afternoons when I first got to 96 Rock, and they were tearing the place apart because we were getting ready to move.
Right.
The
Up to-
somewhere they were fixing something. So I got one of the lenses from the on-air light. This
Oh,
is the
that's
thing
cool,
would light
yeah.
up, and it is signed. Do you know whose signature that is? No. Let's see if anybody can see. It's not what you would. It's not an easily recognizable. In fact, I had to go back and look because I think I know whose signature that is.
Okay,
And I
let
had
me-
to go back and look.
Let me do my
and
usual
match it up.
questioning. Is it a
It
musician?
is a musician, yes.
Okay, hold on.
And I had to go back because I had to look up
hell would I-
this person's signature to make sure that that's it.
Thanks, bro.
Yes, thanks, bro. And he spent pretty good portion of the afternoon in the studio with me. Motorcycle enthusiast, rock star extraordinaire from multiple bands.
Is he still alive?
No,
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell. That's exactly right. And I was I was like, I wonder when I did this. And then
And you know how I know
had
that?
the foresight
Because you got me a picture of him that he brought in like a promotional
Oh.
picture. I've got one signed in the basement.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
I recognize the signature.
had the presence of mind to write Chris Cornell, August 15th, 2008. So yeah, this is one of those things I forget that I have, but
Well-
this is a key part of my collection. I love it.
Well, you'll appreciate this because this is one I forgot that I had. I'd given it to my oldest son, who kind of forgot that he had it, but it's very appropriate.
be forgotten
It
down
is
the
a
ages.
rare signed Michael Jordan.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
really?
So I bought this up in Indian, and it's got the authenticity. I mean, it's because at one time, you're correct, he did not own his signature
Yeah.
and couldn't sign. So it's a
Oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah, it is pretty cool,
pretty
isn't it?
cool.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So there you have it. I mean, it's
there you go.
know, and I like autographed kind of different stuff. I mean, I got a lot of photographs that I've had framed over the years,
Yeah.
but I like stuff like that too.
Yeah, just a piece of the building and a good story to tell, and a guy that left way too soon, but I mean,
Yeah.
the circumstances.
Well, let
around
me
that
tell you, pieces of
nonsense.
the building, a lot of the buildings we've been in, you could just pick a piece off when you leave.
Right.
Such pieces of crap.
Our boy Chris Goddard, you remember Chris from Bogarts?
I
He's
do.
watching, and Steve Sadowski is watching. Stacy, as I mentioned, Amy King, Blankenship, Terry Rivera, my girl, my favorite zebra. She's checking us out. Don't forget, like and
Share. Let me give you a quick final one here. When we were up in Mount Adams, when I first came over doing sports talk, I got in trouble. In fact, they got a letter written from the management company of the building to I guess at the time it was, who was it before iHeart? I'm drawing a total blank.
Clear Channel.
Clear Channel.
or J-Core.
Might have been Clear Channel. They wrote a letter calling me out for because we were in a closet, and that building was a piece of crap by then because they hadn't done anything to it.
Yeah.
I got a letter from a Mr. Bortz
O'Neill.
that was written to, yeah, because
He's the main man.
I can't. Oh, I know it was. I can't remember exactly what I said, but he was none too happy with me talking about his precious building. Well, you know what? It was a piece of crap.
But I'll bet it was lovely red brick veneer.
But I tell you what, have you seen it since?
No.
Since somebody actually got in and put some money into it? Oh, man, it's nice as hell.
I couldn't tell you the last time I was in Mount Adams. Be honest
It's
with
been a
you.
while for me, too.
It's been a minute. Well, you know what? I take it back. I went up to the Mount Adams Bar and Grill, and it was like I went into a time warp.
Well, I went up there to eat at Teak. No
God,
longer. No
no.
mas. It's been out for, they're like, I've been out here for 2 or 3. See, I lagged behind, man. It'd been out for 2 or 3 years, and I was just getting up there to eat again.
Oh, that sucks because we were going to gone up there and had some great discussions about Ironsides.
Well, are we done? Because I got another Chicago PD to watch.
All
It's
right.
time
Yeah,
to go.
Well, it's part 2 of a 2-parter that you didn't know about.
I didn't know.
I'm
Now I got to
willing
try to
tell you.
find a second part. But don't forget, Thursday night, back to Reality Check, 9 to midnight at 700 WLW. We'll have a number of special guests that we're still working on. But don't forget, like and share this.
All right, and I would tell
Yes?
you now, we will only sign off, or we're just going to keep going unless you sign off as Hank Voight. I want to hear you do the voice.
I can't do Voight.
Do the voice.
I can't do Voight. I'll work on that. I'll do it next year.
Do it.
Next week, I mean.
Yeah,
It's
next
been
year.
long.
Next year is going to be the 151st year of the NFL.
It is. They've been around a long-ass time. And Thomas Jefferson, I'm going to show you some video. All right, it's time to go.
It really is. Oh, all right. Well, here, since the speaker disconnected, we'll just do this. How about that? Here we go. We can't use too much or we'll get needle drop and kicked in the dick. All right, here we go. Next week, Monday night, 7 o'clock, right here.
Tell a friend.
Bring a buddy. Don't you miss this big fun show. And Thursday night, 700 WLW, 9 to midnight. We'll see you next time.